My paper is dedicated to networking through graphic art and the collaboration of the painter and graphic artist Milenko Đurić and Czech graphic artist during and after the First World War. Đurić was a student of Max Švabinski at the Academy of Fine Arts in Prague, and after returning to Croatia in 1918, he played a key role in the popularization of printmaking in the Kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. He actively worked on connecting with foreign artists, especially intensifying collaboration with members of the Holler Association of Czech Graphic Artists, and was also a keen promoter of Czech art in Yugoslavia. This paper is based on archival and periodical research that I conducted in archives and libraries in Zagreb and Belgrade, and focuses on Đurić's active role in strengthening the links between Croatian and Czech graphic artists and their association, as well as on the various modalities of their collaboration, exchange of knowledge, and joint action on the promotion of graphic art and ex libris through specialized magazines and exhibitions that were held in Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia. During and after his studies in Prague, Đurić maintained personal and professional connections with Czech artists, gallerists, journalists, art critics, and art historians active in the field of promoting print and book-based art, and exchanged letters and postcards with protagonists of the Prague graphic art scene. The first part of the paper is dedicated to the relationship between Đurić and gallerist Anton Urlich and Czech artists. And in the second part, I will focus on the collaboration in magazines and at the exhibitions between Đurić and the personalities that are mentioned here. Compared to other European nations, the works of Czech artists were often presented in Zagreb, even from the beginning of the 20th century. Before the First World War and during the Austro-Hungarian monarchy, solo exhibitions of Alfons Mucha and František Tavik Šimon were held in Art Pavilion and Salon Ehrlich, the two exhibition spaces in Zagreb. The first comprehensive presentation of Czech art was organized in 1904, when representatives of the Manes Association of Fine Artists exhibited at the Art Pavilion. And 10 years later, in 1914, when Đurić studied in Zagreb, the International Exhibition of Graphic Art presented works from various European countries and played an important role in introducing to Zagreb public the medium of print. Đurić was born in Zemun in 1894. And from 1912 to 16, he studied at the Zagreb Academy of Fine Arts, that was then called Temporary Higher School for Fine and Decorative Arts. During his school days in Zagreb and later in Prague, he was close to Vladimir Silovski, Czech artist, future member of the Manes and Holler Association. Both were Zagreb students of Menci Klemen Srčić, the first Croatian modern graphic artist, and continued their education at the Academy of Fine Arts in Prague. In 1917, they exhibited together in gallery of Anton Urlich, who in the following years would sell their works through his gallery commission sale. And according to the newspapers, Silovski-Đurić exhibition aroused great interest, and works were sold out even before the opening, so they had to send new ones from Prague. After graduating from the academy in Zagreb, Đurić, and receiving a scholarship from the city of Petrovaradin, Đurić went to Prague to study at the Academy of Fine Arts. He was first in the class of František Ženišek, and after his death, he attended the school of Max Švabinski, one of the founders of the Holler Association of Czech Graphic Artists, which was established in 1917 during Đurić's stay in Prague. More about his student days in Czech capital can be found in letters he regularly sent to the gallerist, art dealer, and patron of artists, Anton Urlich, whose Salon Urlich was a key exhibition space in Zagreb. Today, these letters are a valuable source of information about different aspects of Đurić's life, as well as the connections he established with various protagonists of the Prague cultural and artistic scene. He regularly asked Ulrich for financial help, sent him works for gallery sale, and informed him about the progress of his studies and the new prints he was working on, such as the 1917 portfolio dedicated to Prague, where he depicted various city motifs. Đurić wrote to Ulrich about the exhibitions he visited, the difficult wartime and living conditions in Prague, the closing of academy due to a shortage of coal, the increase in price of the materials, etc. In several letters from 1917 and 1918, he proposed a group exhibition of young Czech artists and probably had a role in bringing the Holler exhibition to Zagreb in 1918. During 1917 and 1918, Ulrich's gallery was dominated by Czech art. He presented several solo exhibitions of Czech artists, including Šimon, Bilek, Vik, Alex, and Zagreb students Silovsky and Strnad, all of which were well received by the public. The most significant was the Holler exhibition, where 13 graphic artists participated with more than 200 prints in different graphic techniques, and many works were sold during the exhibition. After returning from Prague in 1918, Đurić started working as a teacher at the Zagreb School of Crafts and actively participated in the art stream, eagerly working on the promotion and popularization of graphic art, print culture, and ex libris bookplate through the publication of magazines, Grafička umetnost and Umetnost, and exhibitions he organized in various cities in the kingdom, like Zagreb, Osijek, and Ljubljana, and in Czechoslovakia, like Prague and Pilsen. From 1919, Đurić published his specialized magazine Grafička umetnost as a bibliophile edition that was supposed to contribute to the development of graphic art in the kingdom of Serbs, Croats, and Slovenes. As a volume dedicated to graphic art, it published text on graphic techniques, history, and various news about new editions, exhibitions, etc., as well as original prints by Yugoslav and Czech artists. In the introduction to the first volume, Đurić mentioned Holler exhibition in the Salon Urlich and emphasized the need to establish a similar association in the kingdom, as well as the fact that Holler invited Yugoslav artists to exhibit, but they had to postpone the exhibition before founding the society. From the beginning of his activity, Đurić worked on connecting with foreign artists, and he achieved particularly intensive cooperation with Czech authors with whom he connected during his studies in Prague. His network of collaborators from Prague and other Czech cities included graphic artists and art critics whose texts devoted to different aspects of the print were published in 2 magazines that he edited. Among them were ex libris promoters Václav Rudl and Alois Hvala, and historians Madl and Wellner, and artist Šimon. From 1919 to 21, Đurić published 3 volumes of Grafička umetnost, in which he continued from the 4th volume as a magazine from printing, graphic art, and sculpture Umjetnost. In them, he published numerous contributions on Czech art, reproductions and original artworks, articles about contemporary and old Czech masters, as well as various information about exhibitions of Czech art, new editions, and Czech efforts to promote graphic arts and printmaking. For example, in the 2nd volume of Grafička umetnost in 1920, Đurić published Madl's text about graphic artist Julius Marak, as well as original prints by Šimon, Alex, and Silovsky. The list of subscribers show that the magazine was distributed to various persons and institutions in the kingdom and in Prague. Among the subscribers from Prague were Silovsky, Madl, Holler Association, and others. Šimon created vignette reproduced on the cover of the 3rd volume and wrote about his experience as a graphic artist. while the fourth issue of the magazine, now called Umjetnost, brought an article on expressionism by Wellner and contributions on various aspects of Ex Libris by Hvala and Rudel. In addition to magazines, Đurić's intensive collaboration with associates from Czechoslovakia in the early 1920s was also evident in the organization of joint exhibition of Yugoslav and Czech art, graphic artists. In February 1920, Đurić organized an exhibition of Czech Kitica and Yugoslav almanac Grafička umetnost, which with the aim of presenting two similar bibliophile editions to print lovers. Both magazines, Grafička umetnost and Kitica, published by Holar, strive to promote different graphic techniques and spread print culture with original and signed artworks. The exhibition catalog was printed in Prague during Đurić's stay there in 1920. In the preface, also written in Prague, he highlighted the important organizational role of the president of Holar, Šimon, thanks to whom the association achieved excellent results since its foundation. Among artists included in Kitica, he pointed out Šimon's colored etchings, woodcuts by Alex and Silovsky, Švabinski's self-portrait, and the role of Zdenka Braunerova in the development of Czech book design. This exhibition was followed by the two more events that Đurić organized in 1921 in Osijek and Ljubljana, where prints by Croatian, Slovenian, and Czech artists were exhibited. In June 1921, an exhibition of Yugoslav and Czechoslovakian graphic artists was held in Osijek. It was informative and sales-oriented, and it presented original prints, luxury editions, small prints like Ex Libris initials vignettes, and book design by members of the Holar Association and collaborators of the magazine Grafička umetnost. The goal of the exhibition was to show the current state of graphic art in brotherhood nations. It stressed the Slavic orientation and the need for joint action in the field of graphic art. After Osijek, the exhibition was also presented in Ljubljana, where Đurić held a lecture on the technique of relief printing in Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia. After the exhibition, and encouraged by the positive reactions to their efforts in the popularization of print, Đurić and his colleagues from Zagreb, Ljubljana, and Osijek founded the first graphic art association in Yugoslavia, the Collegium of Yugoslav Graphic Artists. The following years were marked by increased interest in Yugoslav art in Czechoslovakia. The fruitful cooperation between Czech and Yugoslav graphic artists was visible on different levels. In addition to promoting Czech art through exhibition, Đurić also wrote about all Czech artists, various exhibitions in both countries, and informed public that the Czech magazine Dilo would publish articles about Yugoslav art written by Đurić and other art historians from Croatia, as well as numerous reproductions of artworks. Đurić's active role in promoting graphic art was well received and recognized in Czechoslovakia, and his new prints, as you can see here, were reproduced in the press, in this case, Prager Presse. Networking and good relations between Đurić and Czech artists resulted in two more exhibitions held from August to December 1926 in Prague and Pilsen. They presented works by Đurić and other members of the Collegium of Yugoslav Graphic Artists. Both exhibitions were well received in the press. On the front page of Narodni listi, a photograph of Đurić sitting in front of his work in one of the halls of Prague exhibition was reproduced. The newspaper mentioned Đurić's hard work on the development of Yugoslav graphic art and highlighted his role as a promoter of Czech art in Yugoslavia. Đurić played also an important role in the popularization of Ex Libris in the Kingdom of SHS. Through his connections with artists, collectors, and art critics from Prague, he became interested in this form of art. As an author, he made numerous ex libris for various library owners and collectors, among whom was also Libris promoter Rudel. Đurić often published articles by connoisseurs of Czech ex libris. He himself actively participated in editions and exhibitions dedicated to ex libris, and his bookplate was issued by the Prague Association of Collectors and Friends of Ex Libris. In 1929, Đurić worked intensively on an exhibition that was supposed to show the scope and development of ex libris in Slavic countries. The first Slavic exhibition of ex libris was organized by the Association of Graphic Artists, of which he was the vice president. The exhibition gave an overview of Slavic ex libris, a popular form that attracted many modern graphic artists and library owners. Bookplates from collections in Prague, Warsaw, Krakow, Pilsen, Sofia, etc. were presented. The Czech section included, among others, portfolios from the collection of the aforementioned Václav Rudl, president of the Czech Ex Libris Society, who also wrote the text in the catalogue about Czechoslovak Ex Libris. The popular magazine, lifestyle magazine Svijet, published an article about the exhibition, illustrated with numerous examples of ex libris by Polish, Bulgarian, Slovenian, Croatian, and Czech artists, including Šimon and Švabinsky. A group of letters and postcards that Đurić received from the 1920s to the 1940s are preserved in the Fine Arts Archive in Zagreb, and they show the extent of Đurić's connections with various people. Among the senders are Šimon, promoter of graphic art and gallery owner Karašek, and artist, writer, and editor of the newspaper Venkov, Marek, as well as Association Manes and Holar, which Đurić informed of his exhibition and inquired about exhibition spaces. Marek informed him about the translations of his 2 articles that were to be published in the newspaper and invited him to send more. Karašek visited his exhibition and thanked Đurić for the donation of his artwork for his gallery and collection. He exchanged catalogs with Šimon, and Šimon wrote to him that he had been following his work and exploration of the print medium since they met. This correspondence, numerous articles scattered in Yugoslav and Czech periodicals, and exhibition catalogs show the active effort of Đurić and his colleagues in the promotion of graphic art in the interwar period. My research is, however, primarily based on materials preserved in archives and libraries in Croatia, Slovenia, and Serbia, and I hope that in the future I will be able to conduct further research in Prague. The Czech side of the story would surely offer even more insight into the various aspects and modalities of intensive and fruitful collaboration between Croatian and Czech artists in the field of graphic art in the interwar years. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Lovorka, very much for your compelling contribution that offered insight in transnational networks between Czech and Croatian artists. And I'm opening the discussion. Yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I have a question about about Croatian artists who studied in Prague. Was it widespread at the days?
Okay, I at the beginning I didn't say anything about that because I was limited with 20 minutes. But yes, many Croatian artists studied in Prague, different artists, more traditional ones like Đurić, but also the ones that were representatives of modern art in Croatia, like Marijan Trepše, Milivoj Uzelac, etc. But the problem with Prague art scene and academy and Croatian art is that it isn't well researched in Croatian art history. There are no articles about, nobody actually did the depth research of Croatian artists in Prague. And it is something that should be done. And also, for example, in Croatian art history, graphic art scene is kind of the interest. So this research actually based on connections is something that is not so known even in our art history. But art historians mainly focused on the modernist, expressionist, like Trepše, they call it the Prague Four, but also from Croatia and not the research hasn't been done. But I have to mention that the links between Croatia and Prague are very intensive, of course, because of the fact that Vlaho Bukovac, our famous painter, was a professor at the Academy of Fine Arts here. So it is one of the things that most surely had an impact to so many Croatian artists that came here for their further studying.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have one more question. Can I ask? You spoke about Slavic exhibitions of ex libris, and
Russians weren't included, and they actually mentioned it in the text that unfortunately Russian artists haven't been included in this exhibition and so on, but only the nations that I mentioned.
And that's interesting, and I would like to know whether there was a kind of national idea in these exhibitions, like we are like Slavic idea, or that was not related to national.
They stressed it was actually organized by the Graphic Association and under the patronage of Slavic society in Croatia, and they stressed the connections, brotherhood, long tradition, and all different. Yeah, they stressed it in the text, but of course it is that period that put an emphasis on such subjects that were continuing from the earlier years and before the.
So that not stopped with the Third World War.
It continued in this form of collaboration, although the national kind of new states form, but they continued to emphasize this aspect.
Thank you.
Art.
Any other comments, questions? I know that maybe it's too early.
Okay.
And you said that your research on this topic is in progress, but do you an overview so far of the representation of works by Croatian artists in Czech collections and vice versa? Are there any Czech works in Croatian collection that would prove the functioning of this network?
Actually, yes, because as you saw in one of the this Salon Urlich that I mentioned so much, when he organized exhibitions, they were actually all okay, I cannot open because so when all of this exhibition of Czech art in Croatia in Salon Urlich were sales oriented, and many of the works, like in dozens, were sold to both institutions and to private owners, collectors, and kind of representatives of the higher society. Also, there are some works, many of them, I mean dozens actually, in some of the most important print collections in Zagreb. For example, there are works by Šimon and Silovski and Švabinski and others in print collection of the Croatian National Library. Also, I guess probably in the cabinet of the Croatian Academy of Sciences and Arts. And also there are, when I prepared this lecture, I actually went through some of the collections in Czechoslovakia and found out that in Moravska Gallery, there are some works by, actually, I think a couple of them by Đurić, and some of the ex librises that entered through Rudol's connection, I guess. And there are, I I didn't do research, for example, in your gallery and so on. Probably maybe there would be some examples, but yes, it actually, I was quite surprised when I went through, and I didn't mention because of the time. For example, this is the book of exhibitions of Salon Urlich, and it has records of sale, and there are quite many works sold. There are a lot of pages, but also he sold in commission sale works by Šimon, Silovsky, and Bilek Alex, and they were asked for from Croatian public. And I didn't now reproduce, but there are letters from Silovsky and from Šimon connecting with please send me more works. I sold this. You should kind of make your collection with my gallery bigger and so on. So it was actually quite good relations that were active in that time. So yeah, I guess that a lot of things would come out maybe from this Czech side of the story.
I guess that Jiří Karásek from Lovice, you showed him also, has some works by Croatian graphic artists in his collection.
Definitely Đurić, probably because he's thanking him from the work. And I saw that it is here donated and all the history of his gallery. So it is a further step in research, definitely.